Ladies and gentlemen, WWE 2K26 has finally dropped Ringside Pass Season 2 today, and there's a lot to talk about because the big question is it worth it? We've seen Borderland Persona cards, we've seen what the DLC looks like, we've seen what the actual content in the past looks like, and we're here to talk about it all. But before we do, make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. We are on our way to 23K subscribers. Let's go on ahead and get into it. First off, let's go on ahead and start with the actual DLC content, the stuff that people want and people wait for, and that's Kelly and Demolition. Now, Kelly looks really good. I really like it. I think that they did a pretty good job with her. Now, I do think that the hair, that could have been improved when you look at her model, but overall, I do think that it is a solid model. The one thing that does throw me off is kind of like her facial expressions whenever she's smiling during her entrance or anything like that. It just doesn't really look too much like her, but when she's not doing anything, then it really does look like her. I think that they really did a solid job with the way that she looks, aside from the facial expressions. If that could be touched up later on, you know, in another patch or whatever the case could be, but solid model in my opinion. Now, I did notice that she did have her own custom victory motion. I love the entrance because before she didn't get on that turnbuckle and point at everybody, so solid stuff with that. And I do think that, again, it is an improvement over what we've seen before. Her moves look good. Love the face buster. Love the K2. I think that that was all pretty solid moves. There are a couple moves that I did notice could be missing out of her moveset, but maybe I just couldn't trigger them all. So far, so good, in my opinion, with Kelly. And I'm really happy with her and the moveset content that she brought to the game, and it seemed like others on social media were as well. Demolition. Axe, crush, smash. I'm not gonna lie, y'all. This is who I'm just kidding. We do care about them. Now, this for me is one of those DLCs where I'm just not personally so into it because of Demolition. Now, that has to do with the age range, obviously. I am pretty young, and I know that there's a lot of old school people that do watch me, and I do appreciate y'all. In fact, I'm gonna just go on ahead and give y'all a little hug, if you feel what I'm saying. But this isn't my vibe. But I have to give props where they're due. I do think that this DLC looks solid. You know, the face paint, the way they look, their bodies. I mean, everything looked really good. I got to play with all three of them in a tag team match. Looked pretty solid. I also did notice their finishers looked good as well. Now, I'm not too familiar with a lot of their movesets, but from what I was able to gather, it did look pretty good. As I've stated, every single time almost, there are very rare times where it's like, bro, what is this? And I haven't really felt that way even when I don't really like the DLC as much, or it may not appeal to me as much. I do feel that they do a solid job at getting the models and making sure that they actually feel like themselves, and the details on those characters are always far more superior than the ones on the base roster because they actually have time to lock in and focus in on these now 4 characters. So for me personally, I am enjoying what I'm seeing this far. Demolition will likely only be used for the purpose of this review, but I am excited for the next couple DLC packs that are coming. And again, Kelly stole the show for me in this Ringside Pass. Now let's go on ahead and get into the biggest elephant in the room, ladies and gentlemen. Now we see that we have Season 2 upon us, and we see all the content, right? Now for me, I do like that it is obviously tier 1. For those that were waiting on the fur boots, we know how much that meant to others, so that is a good thing. Now, I am currently not at level 40 yet. By the end of this video, I will be. This is something that I'm just currently recording as we're getting through the day. But you see this DLC, you see the My Faction tokens, you see the RXP boost, and now it is 50% instead of 10%, which I actually accidentally redeemed, so I had to play a little bit. But now I am level 26. If you guys didn't know, there are 20 free skips that automatically should be there by the time that you open this pass. By the time we drop this video, we will be level 40 with Oba, and we're gonna follow up again on this video. Today's sponsor, Ewin Racing, they went ahead and sent your boy a heavy duty extra large chair, which I was like, bro, this thing is humongous. But guess what, y'all? It holds up to 500 pounds, and it's one of those chairs that's very comfortable. Now, for me personally, I love how these armrests are absolutely magnetic. It made my job so much easier to just have to just plug that in right there, just like that. And not even that, man. We even got a magnetic just headrest, which is crazy. You just plug that joint right in. I mean, bro, when I looked at this chair, I was like, bro, this is gonna take forever to build. They send you these large instructions that You can't even miss any steps. Now, a couple things that we want to go on ahead and point out with this chair. It has 4D integrated lumbar support, and it has revolutionary temperature and pressure sensitive cold cure foam core. So those are just some important things with the chair that you definitely will not want to go on ahead and miss out. And now, for those that are looking to go on ahead and buy this chair, guess what? I got a code for y'all. Y'all can go on ahead and type that code. There will be a link down below. Go get you a chair, man. I've had a lot of gaming chairs throughout the years, and this one right here is some of the top quality that you're gonna find. But I want to make sure that we talk about these rewards because it does feel a little bit repetitive, at least in this pass. We're looking at my faction tokens, we're looking at VC, we're looking at nameplates, just certain things that we don't really care about, and it pertains to my faction. But I will say that these things are a massive help, like the VC and the my faction tokens and the points, because if you play my faction, I do think that this could benefit. And if you want any of those persona cards, this helps as well because you're getting packs. When you pull the same card, you get the dupe currency, which means that you just get my faction points for pulling the same card over again. So I've made like passively like 35-40k my faction points just opening the packs, and I'm at level 26 at the moment. So I do expect to be at a higher point once I get to level 40. And I've also pulled the John Cena persona card that is currently in those packs. So it's not all that bad, especially for those that are chasing persona cards. But when you look at the content in here, again, it just seems like it's being filled in with just currency, right? And that's where the disconnect for a lot of people is. Now we get into the ringside personas like Becky Lynch, CM Punk, that have to do with the Borderlands stuff and the Rhea Ripley's. That again is the very massive negative point of season 2 in my opinion, and that's why a lot of people are struggling to really be a fan, you know what I'm saying, of this pass, especially after season 1, because I've always said first impression is everything when it comes down to anything in life. And season 1, even though that they took that time to make the necessary changes to make this pass better, it does feel like that first impression pretty much killed anything positive that you could get from the Ringside Pass season 2, because I do feel that a lot of big changes were made. Them going from 10% to 50% on the booster, them putting the actual DLC at tier 1, those are all good changes that should be applauded. But obviously, it's really hard to applaud that when there are Borderland persona cards in this pass, and then we're getting Jade Cargill 2025 behind a super massive paywall. So again, it's like you give it, but you take it. And that's where I think that the disconnect with Ringside Pass Season 2 is at, aside from the DLC. Now, we see that Oba Femi is at level 40, and that is something that people are pretty upset about. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I don't mind him being at 40. We got 20 free skips, and to grind through from 20 to 40, if you wanted to get it done fast, you absolutely can. I've already seen people at level 40. As I said, we will follow up, and we have reached level 40. Now, for everybody wondering, this took me a couple of hours. Now, the reason why it took me a couple of hours is because I was just doing some personal stuff in between, but we got this out the way. We are at level 40. Oba Femi has arrived, and obviously, just to talk a little bit about it, Oba's entrance motion is the big elephant in the room. It does suck that we don't have an updated entrance motion for Oba Femi, especially with this persona card to just go along with it. Hopefully we do see that at some point, but at the moment, that's just where we are, and I understand why people are so upset about that. I am as well, for the record, because that strut does not go with what he's doing in real life right now. And on top of that, WWE continuously is changing his presentation and what he does at the beginning. I just need them to just get it right once and for all, so we don't have to deal with another updated entrance motion once Oba's entrance gets updated. Now, along with that, at level 40, I also got the CM Punk persona cards, which is actually very, very cool because you can use that stuff that was given to Punk on other superstars as well in the creation suite. I've already seen Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins attires going around with people doing them, so that may be a little bit of a positive thing, you know what I'm saying, about these. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of the Borderlands stuff. I don't really even play Borderlands. I've never turned it on, but if we are able to use these call parts onto other creations and things like that, I do think that's a positive, and that's just really all the positives about reaching level 40. Now, let's get into the rest of my thoughts on this pass. Let's get back into it. Now, the one thing that I am struggling to understand why they would do this is, why are we getting Faction Wars tickets inside of the premium pass. I feel like we should be getting premium packs, right? That should be the actual objective of this. We should not be getting any, you know what I'm saying, basic. We should not be getting any Faction Wars tickets. Why am I grinding to get something to grind something else? It should be packs, in my opinion, and that should be what it is when you're paying for the premium pass. There's no reason why the free tier got all the premium deluxe packs, and then the premium pretty much got Faction Wars tickets. What am I going to do with those, especially if I don't play my faction? Allow me to get an extra chance at pulling a Booker T persona or something of that nature, right? Or a John Cena, whatever the case may be, you know? Even though I've already pulled John Cena, but you guys get the point. You guys get the point. So right now, man, I definitely think that this is a step up from season 1, but it's not yet there. We have to see what's going to happen in season 3. And as I've always said, it's subjective. Is it worth it? Is it not? I personally think the Oba is worth grinding for, especially for those that already have been playing. You're getting 20 free skips. You only got to grind 20 levels, and you already got tons of 50% RXP boosters. So I personally can't sit here and tell y'all I'm going to be mad at that. Like, there's some people upset about it. I'm personally not. I think there's more things to be upset about in this pass than Oba Femi being at level 40 in the free track. Just my 2 cents. There's different ways to be constructive about these things, and I feel that complaining about Oba, that's not really that constructive in my opinion. We keep making the point that he is outdated. I do agree to an extent. He does wrestle with that hair that is currently in the game as well. So it's one of those things right now where I've already mentioned that he's outdated, but at the same time, he's not. Like, he wrestles in different styles. So now we are getting this persona card, and I do love the fact that this persona card is in. So it's going to be really hard for me to be pissed off at seeing him at level 40. I think there's a lot more to be upset about in this pass than Oba being level 40. Overall, I think that if you like Demolition or Kelly Kelly, go on ahead and buy it. It's $10, and that's what it is. Now, if you are not a fan of Demolition or Kelly Kelly, I don't think that you are missing anything because Oba Femi is level 40. So don't buy it. Like, it's only if you're a fan of these wrestlers. If you are buying the pass strictly for the content inside of the pass, or just inside of the premium pass specifically, I would personally stay away in season 2, and that's my thoughts on this pass thus far. But if you guys did enjoy this video, make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure to stay tuned for the next one. I'm gonna catch y'all. Peace.